touching briefly again on the topic of
demons. Let's talk.
Today's topic, we are going to be talking about my favorite and yours, demons. It seems that's what I've been talking about recently, but I'm sensing that it might be resonating with a lot of individuals at this time, so I'm just gonna keep on posting intuitively.
So here the fuck are.
Now, this is just gonna be a really short video just to break it down what different demons are. If you want to think of the word, I'll go back to the archaic root of it. It means genius, so this is just simply someone who is very smart. The word demon is also used a lot in pop culture. It's used a lot metaphorically because you'll hear a lot of humanoids talking about
such and such person had to deal with their demons.
They didn't deal with their demons.
Or their demons came after them or whatever, right? And we all know that this is just an expression used for energy that they had going on inside them that eventually took over and culminated in them having some sort of breakdown on the outside of them. So this is energy that someone is carrying within them. When we talk about demons from that vantage point, this is energy that someone has inside them. This would be, let's say if you want to look at that chart in that book, Power versus Force, you see the lower density vibrations. That is energy that someone can carry inside them. Anger, greed, jealousy, whatever the fuck, guilt, shame, pride, all of that stuff that someone has already within them.
I take a shot or fucking puff every time I fucking say that, okay?
Okay, you're gonna be feeling nice. When someone has energy within them that is considered negative energy, that essentially builds up within them, and that typically means that a motherfucker hasn't done their fair share of shadow work. That's just what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say with that, right? Because the shadow is something that's not illuminated. So if something is not illuminated and it's building up, what's gonna happen? Soon the shadow is gonna be like a tidal wave. It's gonna overcome the light, so to speak, because it's being ignored. And when lower density vibrations are being ignored, they want to be seen because they're the shadow. So it's their very nature to want to grab your attention in a clandestine way.
Ooh, that was good, thank you.
It wants to grab your energy in a clandestine manner, and it's going to do that by building up inside you until you are really faced with having no other choice but to look at it, okay? So anyone speaking, I'm not saying you, but you know, I'm saying you as in I'm just talking general, because I'm sure you've probably done a lot of shadow work. When someone is running from their demons or shit like that, it's energy that they have within them, okay? That is like the third dimensional aspect of it. Now, the fourth dimensional aspect of that type of energy, there are entities that exist in the fourth dimension, and they are what I call bottom feeders. So these are like the...
Okay, perfect example.
I don't know what the fuck they're called, but have you ever seen these videos where someone will sit and they'll put their feet in like water and there's these fishes, or
I don't know what they are.
They put their feet in this water, and then the fish or whatever it is, they start eating like the dead skin cells, right? And then the individual, when the fishes are done eating that, they come out and their feet are smooth. Okay, I don't know. I'm really curious now. I think I'm gonna look that up after I'm done filming.
Think of it like that.
Someone has built up energy, like the feet have built up whatever the fuck, dry skin, calluses, whatever, and then these bottom feeders, they're coming in and they're feeding off of it, they're chewing it. But instead of letting the feet be brand spanking new and baby smooth, what happens when these bottom feeding demons attach to a humanoid's low density vibration, the one that I just mentioned that they're already carrying within them, it becomes larger and larger and larger. So these type of demons do exist in the fourth dimensional plane, but they're not really conscious. They're not sentient, okay? They are like the bottom feeders. I don't know what to call them. They're sort of like a Pac-Man, like they're coming through. It's like a trash compactor, only instead of devouring the trash, I mean, they're getting bigger and they're calling all their friends, but they're attacking attached to the individual who's carrying that. So they're like,
Yeah, homie, come over here. This is a good food source.
that is what's going on. And however they communicate, you know, it's more of like an energetic pull, because as I said, there's not really a consciousness behind it that is easily computable. It's just sort of like if you want to think of like a single cell organism on the Earth matrix plane that just exists to eat and reproduce. That's the consciousness level, only on obviously it's a higher octave because it's a fourth dimension, but they're getting bigger and they're attracting all of their friends who are attracted to the same energy, like yo, good food source, however they're conveying that. And then they expand and they grow, but since they're attached, they're like a leech, they're like a parasite, they need that host. And the humanoid that has that energy within them that I was speaking of,
They're carrying within them.
they are the host, and then these parasitic demons come in and then they feed and they grow bigger. And that's why sometimes, a lot of times, you'll hear someone, especially if they commit a crime, a murder, something along those lines, something,
Cray, cray.
they sometimes will say, and you know, some of them I'm sure make it up, but a lot of times I can pinpoint if someone is telling the truth or not with those things.
Don't ask me how, because I don't know. The how don't matter anyway.
When someone validly says that a demon took over their body, they don't know what the fuck happened.
Believe it.
Believe it, believe it, believe it, okay? Because that's exactly the energy that I'm talking about. Because the parasitic demons became so large that now the shadow aspect overcame the light that the humanoid was existing in, and boom, there was a breakdown, okay? Which sometimes a breakdown can lead to a breakthrough. You know, some individuals, their demons overtake them and then they have a wonderful healing process from it, and some obviously don't. So it just depends on what the humanoid is carrying within them. But these are the type of demons that they are leeches, they're parasites, they're bottom feeders, and they are eating. They're getting bigger, but since they're a parasite attached to the human host, the energy as well, that demonic energy, that dark energy, that lower vibrational energy is growing in the humanoid as well.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That is like the simplest form of bottom feeding demons, and how that cliche phrase dealing with demons comes about. So this has nothing to do with high vibrational sentient demons, which are really shadow workers, because you have light workers. I'm sure you've heard that fucking phrase. We have those who work in the shadows too. Like we have Lucifer, my love. We have Lucifer, and he's in the shadows and he helps guide individuals because he's holding the torch. He's not a bottom feeding demon, although he can be considered a demon because some call him that because he lurks in the shadows. Like, just their method of operation is different than someone who is resonating, like let's say Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael is just chilling in the sunlight with his angel wings and he's flying around. You know what I'm saying? Like, his method of guidance is different than Lucifer. Okay, now Lucifer, he is a fallen angel, so I mean we can kind of say that, but it's just a different mode. But what I wanted to touch on was this metaphorical standpoint of dealing with demons, and why these type of demons can be referred to sometimes, like they're kind of all lumped together as one, but there's different levels of this type of energy, okay? And if someone becomes possessed by a demon, that is somewhat of a step up from the bottom feeders. They're like what I call baby demons, and they proceed to have more consciousness than the single-celled organism type of demons, because they know what they're doing, but they're still not as evolved as, you know, a Lucifer. There's different levels of that, but I think I'm gonna leave this off here, and maybe I'll make another video about the demons that try to possess individuals or
Whatever.
we'll see what happens.
I never know what I'm going to film here, honestly, until I sit down and film it.
That is what the metaphorical expression of dealing with someone's demons means. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful stroll. I am Oculus, the alien next door. Thank you, Lucifer. Gratia serpente septem. We will chit chat again soon.